Hello there. Welcome back to Tales from Tosche Station. What's up, guys? How you been? Everybody doing all right? Sorry for my absence last week. I was tooling around the outer rim and picked something up. Pick, it's this galactic bug that's been going around that's been causing havoc around the entire galaxy. Um and it finally got me. So I had to shut the station down, tell everyone to go home, and yeah, until I got better. But anyways, that's not why you guys are here. Why you guys are here is for my opinions on the latest episode of the Skeleton Crew, episode 5. You've got a lot to learn about pirates, which I loved, and it's my favorite episode so far. And I think I'm going to keep saying that over the next few episodes. I think each episode is going to get better as we go on, and I'm really interested to see where we go from here. So, without any further ado, let's get into this thing, shall we? Hey, Chewie, do me a favor, punch this thing. Let's get into it. All right, so this episode opens with Wims and Nils' parents trying to get a signal out, get a message out to outside the barrier. As well, to put it lightly, they kind of suck at it. Especially Wim's dad. He seems pretty terrified about breaking any kind of rule. So it was pretty comical seeing him kind of sweat his way through this until Fern's mom, essentially what looks like his boss, basically, um, calls him into her office and says, "You need to stop this because the way that you're doing it isn't going to work. I'm going through this properly through the proper channels and proper procedures. Let me figure this out with the supervisor, and I promise you we will get our kids back." And then we we go back to the kids in SM33 as SM33 tells the kids, "Hey, I'm not going to hurt you anymore, but I will tell you about Captain Renan. Captain Tak Rennod. I believe that I'm pronouncing it correctly. Please tell me if I'm incorrect in the comments below. But anyways, so the way that uh, I took it is Captain Tak Rennod is essentially the Blackbeard of Star Wars. He is the legendary space pirate. He's the pirate that all other pirates are measured against. He's the guy, and he's a legend. So SM33 goes on and tells the kids where the coordinates are, that they're at Renan's lair, and then he goes on to tell SM33 goes on to tell the kids about the attempted mutiny and on Renan, and how Captain Renan essentially crashed his ship into at Aden to make sure no one else could find it, which goes into the theory that a lot of people have been saying, myself included, that the that the supervisor is the previous captain of the ship that they're on. And um I I wonder I just there's a lot of mysteries that we're seeing uh in this show so far. This whole show is shrouded in mystery, and I really can't wait to see what else we get some light put on regards to what Adadin is, who this captain is, who the supervisor is, stuff like that. And then we get one of my favorite moments in the series so far. Wim goes to sulk, essentially, and Jod finds him and tells Wim that he needs to let go of his attachments, that they'll get him nowhere, they're going to get him killed, and to instead focus on his stories and his imagination. And they bring back around one of the most important lessons that Star Wars has ever put out, that your focus determines your reality. Said by none other than one Qui-Gon Jinn to a young Anakin Skywalker. And I think it's telling that we're getting these Jedi lessons from Jod. At this point, I think Disney's going to beat that old horse, and it's going to be he's going to be he's going to be a Jedi that survived Order 66. At this point, we have like 50 of them, so like a good handful of the Jedi Order just survived. The Purge wasn't as all-encompassing as the Emperor wanted it to be. As the kids make their way to the layer or the layer the planet's on, called Lupa, which has been turned into a giant spa planet, and SN33 is not happy. He's not happy at all. In fact, in this part of the episode, we get little quips of what it was before it was transformed into this, and it's pretty funny that we get that anytime that SN33 tries to get angry at anybody or tries to get violent, he gets struck down by the restraining bolt that is on that is on his chest. And this whole part of the episode made me lose it, just because it was funny watching SM33 just kind of lament about his home planet and what they did to it, which again I found hilarious. As they're checking in, and Jada is continuing to bribe the front desk receptionist with I don't know how many Republic credits at this point. A bounty hunter comes up that knows Jod. Her name is Pocket, spelled Pokkit, and if her voice sounds familiar to those of you in attendance who are Disney fans, her voice should sound familiar. It is indeed Merida. It's the actress that plays the voice of Merida, and she essentially tells Jod that, hey, I know what you're doing. I know that your crew's looking for you, and I'm gonna tip them off. So she goes, calls Captain Brutus and the other pirates as they are now on their way to the planet. As we get to this giant suite that Jod was able to buy. He splits the kids into groups to where they can go find the lair. And there's a couple parts of this scene where Jod's starting to kind of lose it a little bit. He gets he screams at the kids for, well, being kids. I mean, I get it. If I was in his situation and I was stuck being essentially being captained around by by a couple of 10-year-olds, I'd be pretty angry as well. So he splits the kids up. They all go into different groups. As this next part, we get a lot of fun cameos. We see a hut, and we see a ton of munes in the tar pits, because when they landed, they were told that the banking clan is essentially holding a conference on the planet, and there's a ton of munes all over the planet right now. And Wim and Fern find the lair as they bump into a a monster. No, his name is. I'm gonna butcher this, guy. So just bear with me. Cathalops. I think that's how you pronounce it. Please, again, correct me down in the comments. Someone, heck, just DM me on Instagram if you know my handle, and just let me know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. So they bump into a monster known as Cathalops. As it turns out, this guy just wants to hear a cool story, and he helps them open the lair. As Wim just tells him of everything that they've gone through over the last handful of episodes. And as they're about to go into the lair, he looks at all the kids and say, "Hey, this guy you're with, don't trust him." Which we'll get to in a second, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you worry. The next scene, we essentially get Indiana Jones in space, which I absolutely love. There is a I think my favorite trap that they had was 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 the laser saws, and essentially the kids aren't, like, they're too short to where the laser saws just are missing them, the uh and the spikes were really cool, were really cool as well. They get to a impassable part of the booby traps. It's an acid pit, and they find a riddle on how to empty the acid pit, and they're told that they have to make the ultimate sacrifice. The kids think that one of them have to jump into the pit, sacrifice their lives in order to proceed. But Jod turns to them and says the title of the episode, "You've got a lot to learn about pirates," and essentially goes on a tangent saying the thing that pirates treasure most is gold. So he takes their last Republic credit, throws it into the acid pit, and it essentially drains out as they make their way into the lair. And there's a lot of stuff to unpack here. There's tons and tons and tons of gold lying around in this pit. There's I don't even know how much money is in this lair. But the interesting thing is that we see a lightsaber, and the person that we see the lightsaber from first is Wim, and he actually doesn't run and grab it at first. He he takes a minute, and I was during my rewatch, I noticed that this saber is either a High Republic saber or an Old Republic saber, just from the color palette and and how it's designed. So I'm really interested to see what all we're gonna see about Adden and the time period, because it's either, well, at the end of this episode we find out that this is a Old Republic planet. The kids and Jod find the coordinates to Adden and a recording of Captain Renan, and comes on, and we don't see his entire person. We don't see we see like parts of his body, but we don't see his face, which I think that's going to be of some significance later on. So he's essentially stating that the planet is the last old republic mint, and for those that don't know what a mint is, it's essentially a printing press to literally make money. So once Jod discovers this, he has a little bit of a heel turn on the kids and challenges Fern to hand-to-hand combat to become the captain um of the crew. Which, the thing about the Pirates Code, ladies and gentlemen, that's more like guidelines. If you're a Pirates of the Caribbean fan, you understand that reference. And essentially, he tells Fern, "I don't want to hurt you. Just yield." As she does, and Wim decides to do something brave. He attempts to use the lightsaber to stop Jod. And the funny thing is, Wim, he's got it upside down. He's got the saber upside down, turns it on, scares him, and he can't save his friends. So, right before they're about to get captured, they pull a lever. They get the floor opens up, and they're gone. They escape, and the last shot of the episode we see is Jod with the lightsaber, and it cuts to black. So overall, this is probably my favorite episode, just with what we saw, the Indiana Jones of it all, the mystery on Adden, who the supervisor is, if Captain Renan is the supervisor. That's one theory that I've seen a lot of people have been saying. That's probably what it is. And I'm still just really enjoying the story that they're telling. And I mean, this is still Treasure Island in Star Wars. We're getting Treasure Planet in Star Wars. That's what this is. The Jod turn came a little bit sooner than I was expecting. I was expecting that to be on I was going to happen on episode 7, and then he redeemed himself in episode 8. But I think we're going to get a longer progression of that arc over these last few episodes, where he puts on a front that he's a bad guy, but when push comes to shove and the kids are actually in danger, and Brutus and his crew are about to kill the kids, he's gonna step up and be the Jedi he's supposed to be. So I think that's how this is end. So overall, like I've said, I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed the vibe of the show, and just how this show is as a whole has taken the Star Wars community into a better spot than when it was this time on the Acolyte. I'm really enjoying the discourse online and the camaraderie of just how everyone's enjoying this, and we can have an open discussion as fans without slinging tar at each other. And yeah, I really can't wait to see what they're going to do next week. So yeah, what do you guys think? What do you think? How are you liking the series so far? How do you think this is all going to wrap up? Let's talk theories. So comment down below, or just hit me up on Instagram. Let's talk about it. So until next week, guys, may the force be with you.